Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Cambridge Veritas. My name is Krish, and I welcome you all with a big heart to Cambridge Veritas. Let's allow for other participants to join us. Thank you. And I am your IELTS trainer at Cambridge Veritas. So what are we going to do today? Today is a very interesting day because we're going to be looking at a topic that has given a lot of pain to a lot of people. We're going to be talking about the vocabulary of IELTS Writing Task 1. But before we get started, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the Cambridge Veritas family. If you've already subscribed, you were present in yesterday's lesson, you've come and joined us again today, big welcome. We love your consistency. In any case, it's important to note that 50% of our subscribers are quite regular, and the other 50% do come and go as they sort of please. It's important to support the teachers on the channel, so make sure that you subscribe, like, and most importantly, actively engage with us in the live channel, in the live stream, in the live classes that we conduct for you. So what are we going to do today? Have a look. Today, we're going to be looking at how do you master Band 9 vocabulary for IELTS Writing Task 1. Now, if you see, we have spoken a lot about IELTS Writing Task 2. And with trainings available on the internet and then, in your own respective localities, people are able to teach IELTS Writing Task 2 quite easily. What's difficult is Writing Task 1 of academic module, because it is a little bit analytical. It's not that straightforward. And therefore, the training's got to be that sensitive as well. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. One aspect of it. How do you ace the vocabulary of IELTS Writing Task 1 academic module? So without further ado, let's get started. Are you all ready? Bravo. Here we go. Please have a look. So first of all, I'm going to tell you what the agenda of today's lesson is. I'm going to share with you 4 things that we're going to do in the next 30 minutes to ace vocabulary, Band 9 vocabulary for IELTS. So here we go. Point number 1 that we're going to be looking at is, before we even touch the topic, it's important to understand what is the importance of precise vocabulary. And if you just use any word strewn about haphazardly, what may happen? So we're going to be looking at the importance of precise vocabulary. That's point number 1. We'll play a game. Number 2, we're going to be looking at 5 common mistakes that people make with vocabulary. Now, I'm not going to talk here and just watch you and expect you to watch me. We're going to be playing an active game. In this active game, your job is very important. I'm going to show you a few graphs, and it's going to be a very interesting part of the live stream lesson today. When I show you the graph, you have to do something, so you've got to stick around with me for that. We're also going to be looking at a game. It's called What Band Will You Get? What do we call this game? What band will you get? In this game, we'll basically learn the scoring criteria. So that's that. And then after that, we're also going to be looking at matching vocabulary. What do we call it? Matching vocabulary. It is to sort the words. I just want to make sure that the live is available for you to sort of chat as well. So bear with me. For today's lesson, please do make sure that you use the comment section, not the live chat, the comment section to sort of chat with me. And I think that'd be an easier way to sort of proceed with today's live. Okie dokie? So let's begin. So what is game number one? Let's have a look at it. So game number one is called Importance of Precise Vocabulary. There are four important reasons. There are four reasons why precise vocabulary is important. I'm going to be showing you the reasons one by one, but the trick is there's a blank space. Have a look. There's a blank space in each reason. No, don't just start reading yet. You have to, once I finish the instructions, you have to read the sentence and fill in the blank spaces with the words that you see in the panel above. I repeat, you have to fill in the blank spaces with the words that you see in the panel above. Number one, we will do together. The rest of it you have to do alone. And how do you do it? You put your answers in the chat box. Ready? Shall we start? Here we go. Using precise vocabulary demonstrates your... Now, what is the correct answer here? Using precise vocabulary demonstrates what? The answer to the first question is, it demonstrates deep understanding of data trends and patterns. You're able to explain to the examiner that you understand clearly the data and the patterns and are able to communicate it as well in writing task 1. Now, can you put the answer of the next one in the comments section below, and then we'll write the answer together. You could, to make this job easy for you, you could simply put the letter, all right? Once again, you could simply put the letter. You don't have to write the complete word. So that's totally up to you. What do you think is the next one? This is what separates a person with band 7 writers from band 9 writers, as they can describe dash differences in movement. So what is that? What are they able to describe? The correct answer is they're able to describe subtle. I repeat, they're able to describe subtle differences in movement. So that's reason number one. A, it shows deep understanding of the data. I'm getting your comments as well. Lovely. And then number two, you're able to describe subtly the movement that happens, and that's what sort of separates you as a band 7 writer versus a band 9 writer. Alrighty, we're going to be taking a few questions towards the end of the lesson as well. In the next 20 minutes, bear with me. Reason number two, why the vocabulary is important. Here we go. So read the sentence and put your answers in the comments section below. All right, so what exactly is the correct answer? Number two is, what kind of vocabulary? It is, I'm just going to put the letter for you. It is, have a look. G, accurate. Once again, what is it? Accurate vocabulary contributes to task achievement by exact meaning. By what dash exact meaning? By conveying, which is B, conveying exact meaning. So when you're able to use accurate vocabulary, what does it do? It helps convey the exact meaning to the examiner and the reader, that this is the trend that I can see. this is the data point that I can see, and this is what it means. So that's the second reason why precise vocabulary is very, very important. Perfect. Now let's have a look at point number 3. Reason number 3. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Take 30 seconds and then we'll check it together. Sophisticated and precise vocabulary directly influences your lexical resource score. What is the meaning of lexical resources? To make your job easy, I'm going to give you a very simple word. Lexis means words, basically. It means vocabulary. It's just a fancy way of saying words. Which accounts for? What does it account for? This is very important. Lexical resources account for H, 25% of your total score. So whatever we are doing in this lesson today, it actually accounts for 25% of your score on the IELTS test. So it's supremely important that ways. Examiners evaluate your ability to use advanced words dash. The correct answer is appropriately. That's what examiners are looking for. Examiners are looking for you being able to use advanced words appropriately. It's not like, oh, I have learned a word oscillating and I'm just going to use it anywhere. If you actually use the word, a fancy word, but at an incorrect place to sort of convey a data point, it doesn't have negative marking, but it actually shows that you're just using vocabulary mechanically, just for the sake of it, but it doesn't convey the right meaning. So that actually ends up not adding to the total mark, but a deduction. So that's very important. You're not conveying the right meaning. That's what we need to understand here. Okie dokie. And the last point here is, let's have a look. Having a diverse range of precise vocabulary helps you avoid. What does it help you avoid? The correct answer is it helps you avoid repetition in your writing. You don't end up repeating the same thing again and again. And we're going to be looking at it in an example today. As an IELTS candidate, never ever repeat one word twice. I'm not talking about function words like is, am, are. I'm talking about, for example, if you're using the word precise, if you've used it already in one sentence, ladies and gentlemen, don't use it again. That's the purpose for it. All right? All right, here we go. In your writing, demonstrating your language, what? It demonstrates your language flexibility, and that is here. Repeat, language flexibility. If you want, take a screenshot of it and use it, go through it, and then we're going to be looking at it later. Perfect. All right, understood? Shall we move ahead? Here we go. Please have a look. Now, the next important game that we're going to be looking at is here. Now, this is a very interesting game. Please have a look. We're going to be looking at 5 common mistakes that people make, especially when it comes to talking about writing task 1, different types of bar graphs, different types of graphs, and different types of charts. I repeat, different types of graphs and different types of charts. So let's have a look at this graph. It's called a line graph. What do we call it? Called a line graph. So in this line graph, I'm going to show you the first mistake as an example. And in the next game that is coming, the slide after it, you have to do the rest of it yourself. I repeat, you have to do the rest of it yourself. We're going to be looking at the answers one by one together. All right, here we go. Just make sure that you put your answers in the chat box. My apologies, we do not have the live chat on today because of a technical glitch, but make sure that you put your answers in the chat box. Let's make this lesson as productive as possible. All right, here we go. So this question came on the IELTS exam, and the student wrote this. Have a look. The student said, the number of users slowly increased from 100 to 500. Okay, it's talking about certain kinds of users, and it said that it slowly increased from 100 to 500. Now, what is the problem with this? Have a look. The problem is, it's not slowly increased. There's a mismatch between the trend and the describing word. If you look at the trend is here. And the describing word is slowly increased. Sorry, is it slowly increased? Or there's a better word that we can use here. So, do not do this. There's a mismatch that is happening between, have a look, between the trend, which is shown in the graph, and the describing word that the student has used above. So don't do this. What is the correct version? Let's have a look at it together. So the correct version is the number of users. Now look at the language. Sharply increased, sharply surged, sharply soared. So if you look at these words, surged, soared, and increased are all appropriate, but you have to use an adverb as well with it. Dheere hua tha, tez hua tha, kaise hua tha, you have to talk about that as well. So what is it? It's a sharp saw. This kind of line is called a sharp surge. So use this kind of word, this kind of phrasing, especially if you see something like this on the writing task 1 in the IELTS exam. Hope it helps. Take a screenshot if you want to here. All right? Perfect. Now, what are we going to do? The game is, I'm going to show you 4 different graphs. I repeat, I'm going to show you 4 different graphs. Charts, graphs, etc. Look at the graph. Pause the video if you want to. Put your answers in the comments section below. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen, once again, what do you think is the mistake in each one of them? That's your task. All right. So I'm going to show you all the 4 charts here. Bingo, bingo, bingo. Here we go. What is the mistake in what the student has written related to each of these graphs? I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Have a look at it. And then we're going to be checking the answers together. All right? All right. Bear with me until. Just going to use the space for a little while. Thank you. All right. I hope you're done. So what are we now going to look at? Have a look. Perfect. Now I'm going to be taking each of these graphs one by one, and we're going to look at what is the mistake and what is the correction. Ready? So let's have a look at graph number 1. So what kind of graph is it, by the way? Is it a line graph? Is it a bar graph? What do you think? I repeat, what kind of graph is it? So, so this is called a bar graph. What do we call it? It's a bar graph. The student has written, the sales in London were more better than in Paris. And can I tell you, in my 15 years of career, this kind of mistake is atrociously common. I repeat, it's atrociously common. But what is the mistake here? The mistake is double comparatives. So there are words in English language, we call them comparatives and superlatives. So this person has used double comparatives. What is the meaning of double comparatives? The comparison of something that's good is good. If you have a more good remote, you say better remote. And if you have the best remote, then you say the best. Sometimes people have started using best test as well. Even that is wrong. It's not a word, by the way. So the idea is you have used double comparison. The word more and better are both comparative words. It's like saying मैं अच्छा हूं, मैं अच्छा हूं. So it doesn't make any sense. So what is the correction here? The correction is the sales in London were better, more successful, higher than. So you can use any of these, but do not, ladies and gentlemen, do not use these two words together. More and better together. Do not use that. All right? Something very important to be mindful of. So there's that. So this is graph number 1. Now let's move to graph number 2. Here we go. This is called, what kind of graph is it? We call it pie chart. All right, what do we call it? We call it pie chart. So the student's written, a big slice of the pie chart shows 85% of respondents. Shows 85% of respondents, okay? So what is the problem with it? The problem is, have a look. Informal language. The word that you see here, big slice, the word that you see, a big slice, in the IELTS exam, always remember, in the IELTS exam, you have to make use of one kind of language. What is that? I repeat, you have to make use of one kind of language. We call it academic English. What do we call it? We call it academic English. Big slice is not, I'm afraid, academic English. So what is the correction here? What can we say instead of big slice? We can say something like a significant proportion. So significant proportion, the vast majority, a substantial segment. Can you see there are so many ways of saying the same thing? I repeat, there are so many ways of saying the same thing. So what you could basically say is, I'm going to highlight it as well for you. Here we go. So instead of saying big slice, yeah, it does look like, you know, a pie, a banana pie, but we don't exactly have to use big slice like we use in daily lingo. So the idea here is use academic English, such as a significant proportion, the vast majority, or substantial segment. So this is very important to sort of keep in mind. All right? Bingo. So this is number 2. Mistake number 3. Have a look. What is this? The student's written, the prices went up and down between January and June. So cute. It seems like nursery rhyme to me. Up and down, up and down. But there's something to note here. The mistake here is It's repetitive language. Up and down and up and down. You're just making it redundant and wordy. I repeat, the person is making it redundant and wordy. Avoid using up and down like that. It's redundant, basically. The correct version could be the prices significantly fluctuated, oscillated, nice vocabulary, showed considerable variations. So do not repeat the same word again and again. Rather use so many other, alternatives that I've given to you here. So this is mistake number, mistake number 3. And the last mistake is here. The last mistake is the population dramatically increased by 1%. The population dramatically increased by 1%. Dramatically? Is it? So what do we understand here? The mistake is there's a mismatch between the adverb and the actual change. It's not, what is the meaning of adverb? In simple English, any word that ends in ly and that basically describe the intensity of the action is called an adverb. Now, I see that it's quite flat. It's not dramatic. Dramatic is something like this. You know, there's a lot of change happening. That's called dramatic, you know. If you've got a friend that changes mood like suddenly, this person's called quite dramatic, correct? But it's not happening here. It's quite subtle, as a matter of fact. It's flat. So the correct language is there's a mismatch between the adverb being used here and the actual change, as a matter of fact. All right, so the correct, here we go, lingo is the population showed minimal growth, marginal increase, or just increased slightly. That's all. All right, but we do not say dramatic increase by 1%. It's not dramatic increase by 1%, just marginal 1% increase. All right? Perfect. Lovely. So these were the 5 most common mistakes that you have to avoid, especially when it comes to writing IELTS Writing Task 1. I think there was one student yesterday and she was basically talking about incorporating something related to IELTS Task 1. And I promised that we'll have something relevant today. So that's what we did. Now the next game. Here we go. I'm going to show you 5 sentences. Have a look at these 5 sentences. All you have to do is look at the sentences and decide, I repeat, look at the sentences and decide what band description does it belong to. I repeat, what band description does it belong to? For example, just one sec. We're going to be looking at the first one together. Please read the first sentence. Uses a wide range of vocabulary with very natural and sophisticated control. If there's a person who uses wide range of vocabulary very naturally and has a very sophisticated control throughout the report, what band does it deserve? So the correct answer is this person deserves a band 9. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Read the rest of the sentences. There are only 4 more sentences. Take a pen and a paper, write it somewhere. What band do you think does it deserve from the panel above? And then we'll check the answers together. All right? So here we go. Your 30 seconds start now. Let's read number 2 together. It shows basic vocabulary, but with frequent repetition and errors. So the problem is vocabulary is basic. There's repetition of words. Not only that, there are mistakes on top of it. So the correct answer here is, it is, what band do you think it is? What band do you think it is? It is, have a look, band 4 to 5. So that's what it really basically deserves. I repeat, band 4 to band 5. Let's read number 3. Uses not a lot, not very few, adequate vocabulary, just about it, but lacks precision in many cases. So what is it in that case? This is band 6. All right. So if you use just adequate vocabulary and there's lack of precision, that means you're using words, but they do not exactly convey the right meaning that the trend shows in IELTS Writing Task 1. So it is just band 6. All right. Sentence number 4. Has noticeable gaps in vocabulary, and that causes difficulty in expression. This is band 3. What is it? It's band 3. That means not using the words at all correctly, and there's a lot of difficulty in understanding what the person is trying to say, and that badges the person band 3. Now let's have a look at the second last one. Uses sufficient range. That means it's not too less, or it's not less. There's good range that we can see. Occasional errors are there, but they are acceptable. Why? Because it's not impeding communication. That means you're not able to not understand the meaning. You're still able to understand the meaning. So if you do this, it gives you anything between band 7 and 8. Now let's have a look at the last one. If you are last one, let's see what band will you get. Cannot express ideas due to extremely limited vocabulary, and such kind of people in the first place should not take IELTS. They should rather work on their general English or spoken English. So the correct answer here is band 2. I repeat, it is band 2. Take a screenshot if you want to. The idea here is to understand what should you do eventually to get band 9. You need to do what point number 1 says. Use a wide range of vocabulary, no repetition, the flow is natural, and most importantly, there's a sophisticated control over different elements of sentences that you're making use of. And now, the last game of the day. What is it? Have a look. This is my favorite game today. I repeat, this is my favorite game today. I'm just going to give you some space on the screen for you to be able to see what exactly we are doing here. Now, if you look at the left-hand side of the screen, you will see there are different categories. I repeat, there are different categories of trends that come on the IELTS Writing Task 1. And on the right-hand side are the different kinds of words that you can make use of. I repeat, different kinds of words that you can make use to talk about these trends. What you have to do is take a pen and a paper, look at the word, and then put it in the right category. What category does it belong to? Is it 1, to describe upward trend? Is it 2, to describe a downward trend? Fluctuation, stability, significant differences, or minor differences? Number 1, we will do together. The rest of it, we will do alone, okay? So when you see the word saw, I'm just going to put the answer here. Saw describes an upward trend. I repeat, saw describes an upward trend. So it is number 1. I repeat, it is number 1. All right. Now, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to look at each of these words. And I know that you may not be able to finish it in 30 seconds. The idea is pause the video, look at the word, and see what trend does it belong to. What trend does it describe? All right. So 30 seconds, start now. But by the way, just have a look at it. These are the kinds of words that you actually have to use on the IELTS exam. I repeat, these are the kinds of words that you actually have to use on the IELTS exam. All right. So remember that. This is Writing Task 1, Vocabulary. Time starts now. All right, let's have a look at these answers one by one. Plummet. When you see the word plummet here, plummet means, what do you think it is? Plummet means downward trend. I repeat, it means downward trend. Well, fluctuate and fluctuate matches here, so it is number 3. Plateau. Plateau is very interesting here. What do you think is plateau? Is it upward trend, downward trend, fluctuation, stability, significant difference, or is it minor difference? Please put your answers. Take your time. Put your answers on a rough sheet or somewhere. I'm just extending your time, and then we're going to discuss it together. Whenever you see the word plateau, I repeat, whenever you see the word, I hope you're done. Plateau always describes stability. Plateau always describes stability. Now, substantially, marginally, all of these are adverbs. It shows the intensity of an action. Substantially, marginally. What do you think is substantially here? It's significant difference. I repeat, significant difference. But what about marginally here? When you say margin, it means it's not a lot, it's just a little bit. So it is minor difference. But what about the word surge? We always use the word surge. Please have a look. We always use the word surge when you have to talk about an upward trend. So that's surge number 1 for you. Plunge. What is plunge? It's again a downward trend. That means we can actually see that it's actually going down and down and down. So that is plunge. What is oscillate? Oscillate means it's changing a lot. Again, number 3. Now I know that you actually know the format in which the answers are going. Level off. Remember we saw something like this? That's actually called level off. Not going up, but stability. So level off is number 4 again. Considerably. That means there's a lot. So it is number 5. Fractionally. When I say my brother is just 1.5 centimeters taller than me, what am I trying to say? Fractionally, it's not a lot of difference. 1.5 centimeter, is it a lot? It's not a lot. So it is minor difference. Again, climb is upward. Now I know that you've seen the trend. Decline is downward. Vary means there's a lot of change. Remain stable is stability. Markedly. We don't say markedly. The correct pronunciation is, repeat after me, markedly. Once again, markedly. So it is significant difference. When there's a lot of difference. What is the meaning of markedly? That means it's very close to remarkable. That means there's a lot of difference that you can see. So significant difference. Slightly, minor. Escalate means upward trend. And drop is the downward trend. Take a picture of this. Very, very important. Next time when you have to use words to talk about different kinds of trends, this is your go-to slide. All right? I repeat, this is your go-to slide. Excellent. I hope this game was easy, interactive, and also made you understand a few things here and there. All right, so this is the end of the lesson. And if you enjoyed the lesson today, please do let me know using this link. So scan this link. Let me know what was the most interesting part of the lesson for you and what you would like to learn next. All right, so there's that. Another important thing. All of these important things that we cover during the live lessons are basic fundamental aspects. But if you want to learn everything related to IELTS writing, and if that has been stopping you for a long time, then join my 7-day live masterclass where you get to learn everything, not just the basic elements of writing, the basic elements of task achievement, coherence, and cohesion, but everything together. My next masterclass is starting next week on Monday at 9:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. And the link of this is available in the descriptions below. So any of you who have been struggling with their writing for a very, very long time, feel free to tap on the link in the description, which will take you to this page. And as you go to this page, you will see the different elements of the syllabus that we will cover. For example, we're going to be looking at, if you look at a few important bits here, we're going to be looking at hidden band descriptor criteria. We're also going to be looking at what are high scoring introductions. We've covered the basics of it, but we're going to be talking about the high scoring introductions and conclusion. We're going to be talking about what is the strategic development of an essay through coherence and cohesion, referencing, and most importantly, what is advanced language architecture? Means what is the right academic vocabulary to use? Not just the words, but there are so many elements of it, such as the combinations of words for that matter, which is also called collocation. So we're going to be looking at all of those important elements. If you want to read the syllabus in detail, go to the website. And when you're ready, just simply go to the end of the page to enroll. And I will see you next week on Monday at 9:30 p.m. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of today's lesson. And there were a few glitches here and there, but I enjoyed working with you, and I hope that it was a productive experience for you. I look forward to seeing you in tomorrow's lesson. Until then, take care, goodbye, and ace your IELTS Writing Task 1. Ciao, ciao.